Hey everyone, Action here. In this video we'll be bio-ascending following the purity path with some deviations. I'll be going through all the steps from the biomorphosis situation, also showcasing how a very poor economy in the early game can turn the tides quite quickly using the new Ascension. One thing that I do believe it's gonna be nerfed is the Councilor agenda speed, because having plus 420% Council agenda speed is just ridiculous. With this we can launch one agenda every 11 months basically, and imagine that in combination with the statecraft tradition that gives us Council EXP and whenever we launch an agenda, and also combine that with councillors that respawn when they somehow die. So now reaching level 10 councillors have become trivial. There are a ton of other interactions that can skyrocket your economy using multiplicative modifiers, but that will be seen more towards the late game. So our goal in this video is to purity ascend as quickly as possible, and I'm gonna be showcasing you all the bonuses the purity ascension gives you. Because, oh boy, I'm gonna tell you, it is kinda ridiculous, perhaps even more bonuses than the virtual ascension from the machine age. I know it may sound insane, but in the later stages of the game it may actually happen. And the reason for that is very simple. So in the previous patch we would only have the modifiers that improved our job output. However, today the devs implemented the job efficiency, which is a multiplier with the job output. Meaning if you have 100% job efficiency plus 100% job output, you're gonna have a bonus of 4 times your regular output, because both of them will scale on each other. In the previous patch we would only have a plus 200% and that's it. So things get a little crazy the more modifiers you have. And since we have the Remnants origin, we gain access to the ruined archaeology blockers, and this one is kinda insane. It gives us a 33% chance of rolling all of these minor artifacts up to 250. So let's see if we can be lucky in this and get the maximum amount. That would be kinda insane. And in our capital we're also adjusted to that. Maybe it has something to do with our minor artifact production? I'm not so sure. And also, yeah, a very good thing about Remnants in this patch is that every biologist job gets converted to archaeo engineers, and archaeo engineers produces minor artifacts. So we can pretty much have an infinite amount of minor artifacts now. All we need to do is increase our number of biologists, and that will increase our output. In the previous patch it would be limited to the amount of archaeologist drones or POPs you would have working. Now thankfully our research speed in society is already at 109%, so we'll be speeding through the biology research, which includes our bioships. Now if you haven't watched the latest video, we have detailed everything we did to achieve this number in the previous video. If you guys wanna check it out, here is the link. The main problem I'm seeing with this build is the low amount of pop growth, but this should be fixed the more pops we have, at least until we have 20 pops across all planets. And because we have the Sovereign Guardianship, ideally we wanna have very large planets with tons and tons of pops and districts, but not lots of planets, because we have a plus 100% empire size from planets. That is very detrimental. If you can see here, the main source of empire size is not actually pops, but instead colonies and systems. Ideally what I want to do now is remove the mixed industry from our capital and replace it somewhere else. Ideally on the world of fresh airs. And the reason for that is we want to specialize our capital in the production of research. So let's start by building up a mixed industry, because we also want to have some metallurgists. And here on the Highland we already start building more of the research labs. Since in the previous episode I already told you about this, but we have the NEMAS, which increases our society research by 15%, and we also have the special planetary feature of ancient bombardment craters that increases our physics research by another 20%. So ideally what we wanna have here is just biologists and physicists, so we can get the most out of it. Now we have a very aggressive neighbors, the XT Eliminators. Of course they are the terminal exterminators, right? Because Well, we gotta have the toughest enemies. So although we were building a very good spy network, because they are a machine intelligence, it means that it is pretty hard to get high levels of intel. So what we can do instead is use the acquire asset and launch it, and ideally we want to have a subterfuge asset so we can keep rolling the steel technology operation. Now this operation is very underrated, but in the end it can provide you with very good bonuses to your tech output. And of course, since the operation is so difficult, we have the confidence waivers. Now our operatives are having a lack of confidence in their overall purpose, so we can either pay 600 energy credits. That sounds like a lot, since we only have 600 in storage. Or we can either use this one, that has a very low chance of having a positive effect, and a very high chance of having a negative one. But at the moment we can't afford to spend all of our energy. And we got lucky. Oh holy! We had a 16% chance of success. Now that's very good. And if you are enjoying this, join our navy and help us build something greater. High Command has called for 2,500 new commanders to be enlisted, and your skills and leadership are vital to our mission of defending the universe. I don't know if you guys notice it, but now the exotic material buildings actually gives us the materials from the metallurgists and artisans instead of creating new jobs. In my opinion, it greatly improved the efficiency of the jobs, but I don't know what you guys think, since it also increased the mineral upkeep by a lot. To be honest, it basically rendered all of the rare resources pretty much not so rare anymore, because by building just one of these in our alloy world or consumer good world, we will have such a massive amount of resources that we won't be consuming anywhere else. Now that we finished the statecraft tradition, we only need to finish another one to unlock the biomorphosis. But for our next Ascension perk, I am questioning whether we should go with one vision to improve our unity or something like archaeo engineers. Now the reason for archaeoengineers is we are gonna use the ancient ship components in order to power our ships. It is quite useful because we have the archaeotech weapon damage, and we can also make a very good trick using the bioships to basically have the archaeo components without paying for a single bit of minor artifacts. But I think we won't be going to war anytime soon. The XT eliminators are pretty far away. So let's improve our unity so we can finish up the third agenda even faster. Now just some space whales flying around. What a lovely creature, right? I really like these Stellaris moments where we can appreciate the space fauna before we kill them. Our first renowned paragon appeared, the Zondar. Now he is a very good admiral, especially if we are running explosive weapons. And I believe these explosive weapons also account for the mandibles for our little molars. Let's see. No, it is kinetic, alright. AG is a lot kinetic, that's very useful. Yeah, the only downside for this guy is that he costs 8 unity per month. And unity right now is our main problem. I'm not sure whether we hire him or not. Yeah, why not, right? What is 8 unity in the great scheme of things? Oh, that's very good. So we have a expertise in biology 3. Just as I said last video, it will gain up to plus 50% research speed in biology. That's kinda insane. And the Carnival Protectors, Wind of Change, gain unity and lose specialist pop output for 2 years. We can eradicate the Manifesti. Let's pay some alloys because we have a very large amount of alloys storage. So after having our ruler with the expertise biology 3, we have 129% research speed in biology. That's kinda nuts, considering we are only still in 31 years into the game. Oh, now that we have built a lot of civilian industries in Flash Airs, I think it's safe for us to replace the mixed industry for a research enclave. Alright, we have acquired an asset. Spy Master Picking Up Popoka reports from the XT489 Eliminator. a successful execution so far. So we gain command relay asset for use against them. And what is this kind of asset? A sabotage. Not what we were looking for, but okay. We can only sabotage starbase facility, destroy a random module or building on a particular starbase facility. That's kinda bad. And we also have mob rule on rise. I still don't know how we are getting so many negative modifiers from crime, although we only had like one event from crime. I think it is kinda insane the amount of crime we are getting in this patch. I don't know if you guys are having the same experience though. Maybe I am too bad at controlling the crime. Really, another negative? It has been only 1 year, I think. Oh wow. What? We can't pay for 1000 unity?
We have mastered.
I think this is bugged. Now why have the devs made this? We can't stay between 40 and 100 unity. Like, are you kidding me? That makes 0 sense. It's not zero tolerance, it's 0 cents policy. Like, if we had a production of 40 unity, we could use this. But since we have a 70, we can't. What if I just disable some jobs? Would that work? Let's see if the month passes and we can use this. Nope. I have no idea why we cannot use the second option. So yeah, we gotta have the corrupt administration giving us -20 stability for 10 years. So we have hijacked some of the species we are making contact with. We can interrogate them or let the vivisection commence. I mean, we aren't that cruel though. We aren't the determinate exterminators. So let's just do a little bit of interrogation. Oh boy, we should have vivisected them. I have a feeling they might be a devouring swarm. Alright, so establish contact with Phoenix Imperium. They are not a hive swarm, thankfully. So let's start off with terrible relations, but more spy network growth on them. They're quite close to us. That's not ideal. So for our third tradition, we're gonna go for something unique in this patch, which is the unyielding. Now, defensive platforms and starbases have been greatly buffed with the introduction of the Deep Space Citadel, and also the Eternal Vigilance Ascension perk is very insane. Just look at this. Every 6 months, a defensive platform will be built around every starbase depending on the Eternal Vigilance policy, up to a maximum of 50% capacity. So we basically have 3 defensive platforms in all of our starbases, and they also have a -50% upkeep on top of a ton of bonuses. And remember, this is just the Ascension perk, not even accounting for the traditions and also the leader traits, which are kinda insane for the starbases and defensive platforms. And here on our spy network, on the axial eliminators, we can acquire another asset as soon as we have the required influence. Thankfully the order has been restored on Rise, so our stability is back up again at almost 90%. Fantastic. Again, we can't use this option, although our infiltration level is already greater than 10. Maybe I'm reading something wrong here, but I think we should be able to use this one. Alright. The operation has been cancelled, unfortunately. We lost all the influence. And we have a consumer goods shortage. Oh no, the Stellaris Devourer. Let us hope our leader survives. Nope, he didn't. Now the rift in space situation is very good if we want to rush our unity, because using this we gain plus 25% unity and plus 10% physics research at the only cost of minus 25% alloys. But since we won't be building any of regular ships, all of our ships will cost mainly food, so we can pretty much neglect the alloy production for now. It seems that our neighbors are quite passive at this moment, which is good for us, because we are still building up our starbases. Here on the Uxion system, we already have 6.4 thousand, and it will only increase the more we advance through the unyielding tradition. We are also researching the Star Fortress technology, which will upgrade our star bases. And the good part is that upgrading the star bases also costs food and a little bit of alloys, so it is perfect for bioships. Now here on Fresh Airs, we have killed pretty much everything with civilian industries, but in order for us to upgrade civilian fabricators... No, wait. Just as I was saying, we were attacked by the void worms. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, this will force us to build some bioships faster. So alright, although we can't build a very good fleet at the moment, we are still producing our juvenile maulers and they still need to grow before we can fight the void worms. So perhaps the void worm will be successful in this first bombardment. So, since we can't do anything about that at the moment, let's just reform our government first, because we have another civic slot. Now, we could use something like the crowdsourcing, or use the democratic and grab the parliamentary system. However, I will avoid using any faction civics because they are completely busted at the moment and we should expect a nerf in the future. So there isn't much point in making a build like this because it will be gutted very soon. However, what we can do now is improve our unity production to ascend quicker, and I think we can do that by grabbing the Byzantine bureaucracy, which will increase our unity per bureaucrat by 1. Now, bureaucrats have a basic production of 4, so this basically means a net 25% increase before even other modifiers are applied. We got the temporal distortion on Fresh Airs. What is this modifier, man? Now, this doesn't even sound like vanilla, plus 100% to everything, basically. That's kinda insane. And our Minister of Defense resigned to travel the universe. Farewell, Moniaka, you did very well for us. It is time you have some joy for your life. Not saying that serving the Imperium isn't a joy itself, but there is more to life than that, I guess. We now hire the Virok Nahau, and he has a very good perk, which is the extra damage against space fauna, and that includes the void worms. So we'll have a little bit more benefits when dealing with them. What? We lost the materialist faction, and because of this the technocracy civic is now invalid. Can we do something about that? Yeah, wow. Oh, it's gonna cost us 5,000 unity? Really? Oh man, that's so bad. Yeah, but we gotta do this sooner or later. So let's embrace the materialist now. Let's see how our effects are scattered. Yeah, it went back to the normal, thankfully. Now our economy is finally starting to scale up a little bit, now that we are having the better technologies. We also got very lucky in the reverse engineer, and we got the quantum innovation nexus, and also the option to upgrade it as soon as we have 200 more alloys. Okay, buddy, you're declaring us the rivals. You are completely hostile to us. What? How did that happen? I think you hate us more than the determined exterminators. Nope, not at all. It will be your turning time, fleshlings. Now let's insult you, just to make you happier. And although I said that things were looking good for us, I completely jinxed and now our economy is garbage. Now, I have no idea what led to this, but we are even losing food, something that we were very much on the positive side later. I think that by building up so many specialist jobs, we got ourselves in a death spiral. It's gonna be a little tricky to maneuver, but we'll be fine, I guess. What we can do first is change the economic policy to civilian. That would increase our consumer good from jobs, and since we are basically producing nothing in terms of alloys, the impact won't be that big. Another thing we can do is stop the nutritional plentitude, which increases our pop food upkeep by 25%, and also we can activate the capacity subsidies, which will improve our energy production a little bit. And to counter some of the unity we'll be losing, we can activate the inner focus, which will cost us a base of 3 influence, but at the same time will increase our monthly unity by 10%. and since we won't be expanding much more than we already have because of our civic, we should be fine in terms of influence. So yeah, by just doing that, we improved our energy production, we stabilized our food output, and also the consumer good is almost at 0. Because before it was, I think, -40 or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. I think that if we build a research supply depot on the highland, it should decrease our researcher upkeep and therefore increase our consumer good output. Another one declaring us rivals. Don't mind if I do. We are xenophobic after all, and since we are spending 3 influence in our edicts, every rival counts a lot. And we finally finished the unyielding tradition, and we can grab the biomorphosis Ascension perk. Now that's where things start to look good, boys. So let's begin by choosing our first approach. Now here we can have 3 approaches. Purity will increase our leader output, cloning will increase our pop growth, and mutation will increase our pop efficiency when we are in worlds with above 100% habitability. Now the first choice won't determine the final outcome. You will still be able to choose whatever one of these 3 you want, considering that at some point you pick one of the corresponding approach. So since we want to be purity, at least in some part of the situation, we need to pick the purity approach, otherwise it won't be available to us. But for now, we'll go for mutation in order to adopt the flexible tradition 1 as the environmental integration. So thankfully, due to our intel, the Phoenix Imperium are preparing to declare war on us. So we should reinforce our starbase a little bit more. But we need 300 more food to upgrade it to Star Fortress. That will give us a massive advantage. I have already built a small fleet and I'm just letting them grow a little bit. We just need to wait 60 months until the maturation cycle is completed. I think they're gonna declare war on us much sooner than that though, so we need to prepare ourselves a little bit more, and that includes upgrading our Star Fortress. Now the XT eliminators got back at us and insulted. Alright, let's insult them back. Just the cycle of life. Alright, speaking of cycle of life, our governor died. That's very bad, because we don't have any other high-level leader to occupy his place. That's tough, man. We could use the Artan Nahua, he's level 2 and has unity and trade output. But we should also start leveling up another good commander. And a shout out to our first founding admirals. Their financial and strategical support are fueling the non-stop expansion of our armada, and they shall be forever remembered. Want your name in our legacy? Hit that join button and become a part of our great empire. Founder members are only available until the end of this month and will have exclusive benefits the bigger our empire gets, so your early devotion will be greatly rewarded. And the Nagyaran Multitude and the Phoenix Imperium form a federation. Now the bad thing is, both of them are rival to us, so when they declare war, both of them will vote yes in the federation, so the war will 100% pass. And that's something you don't want to have. 2 empires at war with you, and you don't even have a good military at this point. Oh, finally we can build a class 3 singularity in one of our planets. Oh no. Yeah, it costs dark matter. Nah. I thought this would be our salvation. Man, I really don't know for how much longer we can keep this economy running. Like, we are on the verge of collapse at this point. And we just need more workers. But here we have only 9 workers. I'm thinking about just reducing the amount of enforcers. Yeah, we have 0 crime. Yeah, 19 now. Let's just give it... yeah, this is good. 30 enforcers. And the rest... yeah, let's reduce it a little bit. Because those pops will be downgraded to workers. And it will increase our basic resource output. Because we definitely need more of this. So let's reduce the amount of enforcers on all of our planets. Yeah, here on Highland we could even have 0 enforcers. Oh man, I was losing so much maximization just from neglecting downgrading the enforcers. Yeah, there it is. They are attacking and they claim the Ascension system, which is our star fortress. Let's build 2 gun batteries, although I don't know if they will be finished within time. Here they only have a 5k fleet, but I have a feeling this is just the tip of everything they have. Our starbase plus the military ships have a combined power of 20,000. Maybe we can defend ourselves. Maybe. Okay, now the downgrade kind of worked. It stabilized our economy, finally. However, we are still very poor in terms of basic resources. So at this point I will refrain myself from building more advanced resources such as tech, consumer goods and alloys in order to increase our food production. So here we have the tipping point, which allows us to choose our second flexible tradition. Now all options will increase our overall job efficiency for medical tier building and also from genomic research facilities. However, the purity option also decreases our empire size from POPs by -10%, which is huge since we have the sovereign guardianship already reducing it by 50. And yeah, since purity is also our goal, it is very important we pick it at some point. We might as well just do it now. But keep in mind that those effects are only available once you pick your second flexible tradition. Here it is, heightened attributes, and we'll still have a third flexible tradition to pick later on down the situation road. I just stopped the timer right before we went in a consumer good deficit. Yeah, thankfully I noticed that before. We'll also not pick a tradition at this point, we'll wait until the biomorphosis is finished, so we can right away start picking up the traditions. Here on Ascension, all of our ships are stationed, just waiting for the enemies. And I don't know if it is intended, but I think that the Harbingers should have a animation like the Weavers have. Alright, another one. Let's increase the unity. The Weavers have, the Maulers have, I think even the Starbase have. But you get the point, right? They look so cool. They could move their tail a little bit, I guess. Our Harbingers have become elder, so now they really stand no chance at defeating our Starbase. The Starbase already got up to 19k defensive power, and the fleet is at 8,000, so no way they can penetrate our borders now. Oh, what is this? Zondar claims to have improved his physical form in a number of ways, and without permission he has sent messages across the fleet celebrating his perfected state and released a manifesto. And in his manifesto, he claimed that the only viable future for a civilization is synthetic ascension. Now, the audacity on this guy. So he gained a maniacal trait, although he's an admiral. Now that's very interesting. So plus 10% research speed, amazing. We are already at 150% in the biology field and 118 in other fields, it's insane. We also got the neurotissue engineering from the biomorphosis event, increasing our leader EXP and lifespan. A very good tech and very cool effects as well. Now we have our third choice in the biomorphosis, and this is tough, oh boy. Now we are developing a strategy that revolves having a very high amount of pop efficiency through basically improving our habitability. So right now we have 3 options, right? As always, we have the purity, which will basically increase our pop growth by 10% for every genomic researcher. So I think it is 40% pop growth because our genomic researchers give plus 200 and also the gene clinics give us another 200. So in this planet it would be 40%. It is good, right? Yeah, it is good. And the cloning, I think it is even better because we'd get plus 1 monthly organic pop growth for 100 genomic researchers on top of having the biochemical composure. Now, the biochemical composure will allow our leader to have backup clones whenever they die, basically making them kinda immortal, not really, but a little bit. And the mutation will, on top of giving us a plus 10% habitability from genomic research facilities, we'll gain the nucleotide isolation. And what it does is we can have all of these traits and also the Leviathan traits. And if we could grab the Voidling, which gives us plus 80% minimum habitability, that would be insanely powerful. Yeah, it's a tough situation. What would you guys choose? Leave it in the comments, because I sincerely don't know what is best at this point. I think I'm gonna go with cloning, just because we will have a flat out 1 monthly pop growth for every genomic, and also the leader bonuses are kinda nice, since we already lost very powerful counselors, and I don't wanna lose them again in the game. Now look at this, our estimated growth next month already went up to 10, and here it grew by 79. It's getting kinda insane. We already filled up all of our worker jobs, almost, just here on Fresh Airs there are still some jobs available, but it means that we can further specialize our districts and improve our basic resource output once again. Now we finished the biomorphosis situation. You can grab purity, cloning or mutation. You're obviously gonna have purity since that was our plan since the start, and we can now pick our traditions, since we have stored 40,000 unity already. First we'll have the environmental integration, and then this one to reduce our empire size from pops and make the traditions cheaper. So here you can see that it's gonna cost us 16,000, if we pass a little bit, 15k. Not a very significant change, but very good nonetheless. And it also increased our job efficiency a lot. Now we went from having low population across our planets to even have a surplus of them and already started having civilians across all of our planets. It's kinda insane the difference that cloning makes in our Ascension. Alright, we can modify our pops now, and let's see what's best. So later on we'll have our purity authorities, and what they do is they give us many effects based on our positive and negative traits. So this is our base points, and for every point that we utilize we gain a benefit, and for every negative that we have, we gain a negative. However, it will all basically work out in the end, and if we don't use any little tricks, we would only have plus 10. However, there is something that I don't know if the devs noticed, which is erudite, fertile, and robust used to cost 4 points for the regular Ascension. However, in purity they have a cost of 3 only, and they count as 4 in the authorities. So if we pick, for instance, erudite, fertile, robust, and also something like enduring, what we have in the end is 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is already 12, plus 1. Total of 13 points here. Or we could go even more insane than that and make things a little more efficient by using erudite, fertile, robust, and the last one we can have the natural mechanist. However, we still need to have a little more points. We can grab something like, I don't know, sedentary, that will give us the points, and then grab the natural mechanists, because this one usually costs plus 3, but in this case costs only plus 2. So in the end we have a total of 14 points, although we only utilize 10. So let's apply this across all of our pops. It's only gonna take us 8 months. Oh my god, what? They would kill 100% of assigned population? No, we just prefer to lose the encryption a little bit. So let's see the difference in our output now that we changed our species. Yeah, kinda insane, because now we have the robust, which increases our habitability by 30%. And this, my guys, have an effect in our tradition, since we have the environmental integration, which for every point of habitability above 100%, we gain a little bit of bonuses. Now the full effect of this madness you'll see when we finish the purity, a tradition as a whole, within 15 months. I think the White Dwarves greatly overestimated their power. They decided to attack our starbase. Yeah. They didn't even stood a chance. Alright, the birth of the galactic community. What a wonderful thing. And let's also upgrade our Fallen Empire build. What? Okay. Well, boys, it is time you see the madness. So we will have the eugenic hierarchy increasing our job efficiency by 2.5%, and our leaders will have this very good bonus that you'll see just right now. So let's just wait for the month to pass. I'm not even gonna pick an Ascension perk. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. And now, if we look at this, just see the council agenda speed. It's kind of insane. We have a plus, I don't even know, what is this? It's a plus 350%, and it's only because we have Zondar here. If we were to hire another leader like this guy, yeah, it increased to plus 420% just from the generic purist. I highly hope the devs change this a little bit, because it's kind of insane. We can finish an agenda within 5 months, and if we were to start a new one right away, it would only take 11 months. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Also, here on our planets, you can see the efficiency on our jobs, which is, look, we only have 1,000 physicists. However, they have an efficiency of almost 2.5, and that is before accounting for the job outputs, which are multiplicative with the job efficiency. So here we can see on the Almighty Specialist that we have a plus 35% species genetic perfection, and also plus 30% from our traits, 15% from buildings, and plus 30% from buildings as well, since we have the genomic research facility and the cryo revitalization centers. So yeah, everyone, it's kind of busted, as you can see. I know that our economy isn't the brightest at this point, but things will change very, very quickly in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's one, and as always, if you guys could like the video, it helps me out a lot. It makes the YouTube recommend the video to more people, and the channel grows even further. So that's it, everyone. I will see you guys next time.